Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week Wisdom and Legacy Building podcast. This is day 648 of our trek, and time for our Philosophy Friday series. Each Friday, we will ponder some of the basic truths and mysteries of life and how they can impact us in creating our living legacy. For the next several weeks, we will focus on how to live with less fear. We will explore the trails on our trek of life that will help us to be fearless. This does not imply that we will reach a point where we are completely without fear, for that is not only impossible, it is also not wise. There is a time and a place for appropriate level of fear, but most fear that we experience on a daily basis has no grounding and can be eliminated as we grow in wisdom, insight, and understanding. So our objective for the next several Fridays is to experience a FearLess Friday on our trek of life. Today is a new series that we're starting to imagine your life without fear. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. Hazel went back to Columbus Children's Hospital today, and her blood counts were back in the range where they can continue her chemo regimen. During this phase, she will receive treatments in Columbus every 10 days. Nat and Elizabeth will not have to administer any medicines at home, and Hazel seems to be feeling pretty good, and we are thankful for that. As I mentioned on our Wednesday's trek, on July 8, I suffered a fall from a ladder and fractured my upper femur bone. I am focusing the next few Tuesday and Thursday Wisdom Nugget episodes, sharing my story of the accident and the recovery. The story begins with wisdom-trek.com/day-645. A major life event such as this strikes fear into our hearts and how our lives will be changed, or how it could have been even much worse. And starting this Friday's episode, our Fearless Friday treks will explore why we are fearful and how we can live a fearless life, or at least a life with less fear. The focus of our trek today is imagine your life without fear. By nature, I am not a fearful person. I am usually confident and will boldly go where others may not. As I age, I realize it's not so much a lack of fear, but the willingness to overcome fear to achieve my goals and better utilize my God-given abilities. I try to focus on what can be accomplished by moving forward, rather than dwelling on the scary what-ifs. My recent accident is helping me to realize that while I desire to live a life without fear, I also need to weigh in all the potential outcomes, not only for myself, but for those who love me. I am certainly not ready to end my living legacy, and I am very much aware how much worse this accident could have been. Instead of fracturing my femur, I could have landed on my head or back, or the chainsaw could have hit me and those that were helping me, all of which could have ended my life and the lives of others. There is a twinge of fear when I think about all the potential outcomes, mostly because I would no longer be here on Earth to positively impact those that I love most. I cannot and will not allow this accident from preventing me from moving forward. As part of living a life without fear, I will be more prudent with the confident choices that I make and considering the outcomes from a much broader perspective. It is my hope and prayer that during these next several Fearless Friday treks, that together we can learn to move boldly forward, regardless of the obstacles that we may face. Together we can learn from these fearful situations and then wisely make choices needed to live a life with less fear. My ride in the ambulance and a dangerously low heart rate during my surgery are not the only situations that require courage to continue on. You may be down to your last paycheck without seeing a solution. You may feel that your faith can fit into a thimble. For some, each sunrise brings a fresh reason to be fearful. There are always talks of layoffs. The economy is constantly in a flux. Stories of terrorism around the world, or even a local crazy person who is bent on death and destruction over a seemingly minor situation. Maybe they are just fearful and have chosen to take it out on others. I rarely watch or listen to the news outlets because they spew out enough hand-wringing information to want us to find an underground doomsday bunker to live in. I just don't need or want my mind to be polluted with such fear-mongering. We fear of being sued, finishing last, or going broke. We fear the mole that's on our back, or the new neighbors that moved in beside us, or the sound of the clock as it ticks closer to the grave. We create sophisticated investment plans to secure our financial freedom. We install elaborate security systems to protect us and all that stuff that we accumulate. We legislate a stronger military to protect our country while leaving the most vulnerable to defend for themselves. Despite all of this security, we depend on more mood-altering drugs than any generation in history. Fear, it seems, has taken a 100-year lease on the home next to us and has moved in permanently. The neighbor is oversized and rude and causing us much concern. They refuse to share and start to control our mind, and then they rob you of your happiness. do you really ever see the two together? Can happy and fearful be at the same time? Clear thinking and fearful, confident and fearful, merciful and fearful. And I would say no. Fear is that big bully from your high school hallway, brash, loud, and unproductive. For all the noise that fear makes and the room that it takes up, fear does us little good. Fear never wrote a beautiful song or a poem. Fear never negotiated a peace treaty. Fear never cured a disease. Fear never pulled a family out of poverty or a country out of bigotry. Fear never saved a marriage or business. But courage mixed with faith can conquer fear and can resolve all of these problems. It is those individuals who refuse to take advice from the bully fear that can accomplish all good things. Fear herds us into the prisons of our lives and slams the door shut and throws away the key. Wouldn't it be great to be freed from the prison walls of fear? Imagine your life wholly untouched by fear and anxiety. What if faith, not fear, was the default reaction to these threats? If you could hover a fear magnet over your heart and extract out every last shaving of dread, insecurity, and doubt, what would remain? As we take this trek together over the next several Fearless Fridays, envision a day, just one day, absent from the dread of failure, rejection, and calamity. That is where we are heading over the next few weeks. For today, grab hold of this promise that Jesus told us in John chapter 16, verse 33. I have told you all of this that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. Next Friday we will explore fear and ask the question, why are we afraid? I know that you'll find these insights interesting and profitable in living a rich and satisfying life. Our next trek is Mindshift Monday, where we will help you to live differently by thinking differently. So encourage your friends and family to join us and to come along with us on Monday for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of past daily treks or read the associated journals, they are all available at wisdom-trek.com. You can also subscribe through iTunes or Google Play so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, let to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you on Monday.